The rain had finally eased, but the sky above Fairview remained heavy and grey, as if the world itself refused to move on. Black umbrellas filled the cemetery, forming a quiet sea around Edward Langford's grave. The dull thud of soil hitting the coffin echoed like a slow, fading heartbeat. I stood there, barely aware of my own body. My hands clutched an umbrella, though I couldn't feel the rain anymore. After a lifetime spent together, there was nothing left to say. Only silence remained, and the weight of everything we never spoke aloud. People approached one by one, offering gentle condolences that blurred into meaningless noise. My daughter, Karen, stayed close, her hand resting on my shoulder as though I might shatter at any moment. When it was over, I turned to leave. That's when my pulse vibrated. I froze. Edward's phone. I had taken it earlier, intending to pass it along later. But now, in the middle of grief and quiet murmurs, it felt out of place. Slowly, I pulled it out. A message glowed on the screen. Don't look at the coffin. Look behind you. My breath caught. My heart began to pound so loudly I could hear it in my ears. I turned. At the far edge of the cemetery, near the line of trees, a man stood beneath a dark umbrella. His face was older, sharper, but unmistakable. Daniel. My son. He met my eyes, raised a finger to his lips, and shook his head. Then he turned and disappeared into the mist, swallowed by the rain. Mom, are you okay? Karen asked, her voice distant. I couldn't answer. The phone slipped from my hand onto the wet grass. 4 years, the world had believed my son was gone, lost, guilty, beyond saving. But I had just seen him. And one thought refused to leave me. Edward knew. The house felt different after the funeral. Not empty, but frozen. Like a place where time had stopped, waiting for someone who would never return. Edward's belongings remained untouched, his coat by the door, his books stacked neatly beside his chair. I wandered through the rooms like a stranger. That night, sleep never came. Instead, I sat at his desk, staring at his phone, replaying the message over and over in my mind. Had I imagined it? Was grief twisting reality? Desperate for answers, I opened his calendar. That's when I saw it. A single entry, repeated again and again over the years. Maintenance barn. The barn had been abandoned for decades. Broken wood, sagging roof, forgotten by time. Edward hadn't even been strong enough to walk that far in years. So why had he kept going there? The question wouldn't let me rest. Before I could change my mind, I grabbed a flashlight and stepped into the cold night. The wind cut through me as I made my way across the yard. When I reached the barn, something caught the light. A new padlock. My breath caught. This wasn't maintenance. This was hiding. I rushed back, grabbed his tools, and returned. The sound of the lock breaking echoed through the stillness. Inside, the air was thick with dust and oil. My flashlight swept across the space until it landed on a single box, covered with a torp. Written across it, in Edward's careful handwriting. Evidence. Daniel's case. My hands trembled as I opened it. Files. Photographs. Emails. Every piece organized with care. And at the top, a note. If you're reading this, I ran out of time. Our son is innocent. My knees weakened. Edward hadn't stopped fighting. Not even at the end. Suddenly, headlights swept across the barn walls. I froze. A car door slammed. Footsteps approached. Then a voice I hadn't heard in years. Mom, it's me. Daniel stood in the doorway, drenched from the rain, his face worn but his eyes sharp and alive. For a moment, I couldn't move. You shouldn't be here, I whispered. I didn't have a choice, he replied. They're watching the house. He stepped inside, his gaze falling on the open box. A shadow crossed his face. They'll come for you next. Slowly, he told me everything. A powerful company had been moving money through fake accounts, using his name. When he tried to expose them, they threatened his family. His life became a trap with no way out. Dad believed me, he said quietly. He started collecting proof. My chest tightened. And his death. Daniel's expression hardened. It wasn't natural. The words hit me like a blow. Before I could respond, an engine roared outside. We weren't alone. He left before dawn, slipping away like a ghost, leaving behind only a warning. Trust no one. The next morning, a man arrived at my door. He introduced himself as an agent, flashing a badge and offering polite words. But something about him felt wrong. His eyes searched the house, never resting. "If your son contacts you, report it immediately," he said. I nodded, hiding the truth behind calm silence. After he left, another knock came, urgent, sharp. A woman stood there, soaked and breathless. "My name is Catherine," she said. "Your husband trusted me." Her voice dropped. That man wasn't who he claimed to be. Before I could speak, glass shattered behind us. Gunfire tore through the house. "Run," she shouted. We didn't hesitate. And in that moment, I understood. This wasn't over. It had only just begun. We ran through the rain, through darkness and fear, until the world behind us faded into distant echoes. Catherine led me to safety, but not for long. A single gunshot changed everything. She collapsed in my arms, pressing something into my hand, a small phone. "Find her," she whispered. Then she was gone. By morning, the world had turned against me. The news painted me as a criminal. My face was everywhere. Even my own daughter pleaded for me to surrender. I had lost everything. Except the truth. Hidden beneath a quiet church, I found temporary refuge. And with trembling hands, I made a call. A journalist answered. She listened. And she believed me. We met in secret. I handed over everything Edward had gathered. The truth was bigger than I had imagined, corruption reaching deep into powerful circles. But danger followed closely behind. I realized something then. If they wanted me silent, I had to speak louder. So I stepped into the light. Standing before cameras and strangers, I told the world everything. Every lie. Every betrayal. Every truth Edward died protecting. The room erupted into chaos. And just as they tried to silence me, everything changed. Real authorities stepped in. The truth could no longer be buried. One by one, those responsible were exposed. Daniel's name was cleared. Justice, at last, had found its way. Now, the house feels alive again. Laughter has returned. So has hope. Every morning, I visit Edward's grave and tell him everything. He was right. Truth doesn't disappear. It waits. And sometimes